RAGEBAIT, a term that has been around for a very long time. I mean, look at this definition. It was written in 2009. This means that the idea of writing a controversial opinion on purpose in order to elicit more reactions has been around since the dawn of the internet. But that doesn't mean that the majority of people have caught on to this just yet. Here's a great example posted on March 8th, 2025 on Twitter. It says, "Money does not matter to women. I would sooner date a high-tea gym owner making $300K a year than a loser tech founder making $1.5 million a year." Obviously, this is a ridiculous thing to state because not even 1% of the population makes $300K a year to begin with. But people fell for it. 2,300 replies, 10 million views, and 11,000 likes. It's fun for a rage baiter to bait people like this. But as of recently, it's not about fun anymore, it's actually a very profitable enterprise. When Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion, he made it so that you could monetize your tweets based on the impressions that you get. This, in a way, changed the internet forever. Because if you were to make just a few posts like this per month, getting over 10 million views on them, then you'd easily be making anything from $5,000 to $10,000 a month, maybe even more. This is why RageBait has been so prominent these days. But before Elon Musk even made this change, a certain group of people had figured out early on that RageBait is the best marketing strategy on the internet. That group of people were none other than OF girls, as evidenced by this woman. This right here is a perfect example where she's thanking her top spender for having financed her new car. There are almost 800 replies here, and almost none of them have something good to say. But that doesn't matter. The post has 2.3 million views, and all it takes is having 1% of them subscribe to her OF, and she would have made a lot of money. It's a ridiculously profitable industry with people making 6 figures a year just rage baiting the internet. This isn't just restricted to the Western hemisphere of the world, it's everywhere, even in a country like Turkey. You see, rage baiting is something that Mervi TAŞKIN understood very well. Through her OF account, she was generating hundreds of thousands of dollars, and she knew how to rage bait her audience in a way that none others could. She was essentially living the dream. But that dream is now a nightmare, as she somehow was able to rage bait the Turkish authorities. You see, Mervi is currently facing more than 5 years in Turkish prison. And to make matters worse, while she's awaiting this verdict, she is under indefinite house arrest with an ankle monitor strapped to her leg. All her movements are tracked. She can't leave the country and she can't even leave her own home. So how the hell did we get here? What the hell is happening? Let's talk about it. All right, so let's get one thing straight. Turkey is a pretty damn big country, and while some areas are more liberal, it still remains majoritarily a conservative country. So it's no surprise that a website like OF has been banned there for a while now, and you can already bet that other adult websites are also banned as well. In fact, in 2022 alone, they had blocked over 137,000 web addresses. At some point, they had even blocked Instagram, but in the end, it turned out to be for political reasons, and the website is now live again, but we don't know for how long. This 9-day ban was done in 2024, and one of its biggest critics was none other than Mervi, who at this point was already very controversial and had gotten in trouble with the law multiple times. Instagram was actually the platform where she gained her notoriety. Many Turkish businesses rely on Instagram to differentiate themselves in a hyper-competitive market. This is what eventually led her to create adult content in parallel. She understood marketing as well as rage baiting. At some point, she bragged that 3 months of rent in her villa in Bali is worth $100,000, adding that she's not rich, your income is just low. It's especially easy to get people to hate you when you make statements like this, especially from Turkey, because it's a country going through quite a lot of financial difficulties. So obviously, she had no shortage of people who hated her guts, but at the same time, she was making too much money to care. That was until she decided to go to Amsterdam. You see, the Netherlands and Turkey could not be more different. You would never in a million years find a sex museum open in the center of the capital of Turkey. But you do in Amsterdam, and it just so happens to be a very popular touristic destination as well. Now, Mervi had... How do I explain this without getting absolutely demonetized to oblivion? Okay. Here's what we can do. All right, so in the sex museum, there's this popular attraction. Many tourists like to sit on it and take a picture riding it. Now I'm going to draw something completely unrelated so you understand, okay? All right, so here's a palm tree, but unfortunately there are 2 big coconuts that decided to fall under the palm tree. 2 massive, humongous coconuts. And on those coconuts, you had someone sitting on them while cheering. I think you understand where we're going with this, right? Merve had taken an image of her doing this in the museum and then proceeded to post it on Instagram. She thought it was funny, and honestly, looking at this picture, yeah, it's ridiculous. But what she found even more ridiculous is the fact that because of this image, she was arrested twice after coming back to Turkey from the Netherlands. And then she was summoned to court to face obscenity charges. This was back in summer of 2021, but this was truly only the beginning. This case was actually going to be very important because it was going to set a legal precedent for anything similar in the future. So even though many people found it ridiculous, the stakes were actually pretty damn high here, and it left Turkish people very divided on what they were hoping to get out of the verdict. So imagine the shock of some Turkish citizens when she actually went to court and it turned out that she was guilty. She was sentenced to 6 months in prison, but that was then reduced to 5 months because of her good behavior. However, she would only go to prison if she was a repeat offender in the time frame of 5 years. Yes, that means she was placed on a 5-year probation. If she ever were to screw up again in those 5 years, she would go straight to prison. But how is it even possible to prosecute someone like this? Well, in the Turkish Penal Code, Article 226, they talk about obscenity. She was prosecuted under paragraph 2, which says, any person who broadcasts or publishes obscene written or audiovisual material or who acts as an intermediary for this purpose shall be sentenced to a penalty of imprisonment for a term of 6 months to 3 years and a judicial fine of up to 5,000 days. But here's the catch. This entire article does not detail what obscenity refers to. On January 2025, an OF girl in Turkey said that she was going to sleep with 100 men in 24 hours. The cops went to her home and arrested her immediately, okay? Immediately. She didn't even get a chance to open her legs. So you gotta wonder, what is obscenity? It could be anything. Oh, you posted an image on Instagram with your girlfriend wearing a bikini? Well, you're getting arrested. That's what kind of was worrying people, right? And her losing that case set a precedent that yes, they could arrest you for quite literally anything. That's just how it was. Now, obviously, it was in Merve's best interest to kind of lay off social media, take a step back so that she doesn't get in trouble again within that 5-year probation period. But she didn't stop. And she had a lot of haters that saw this probationary period as an opportunity to put her in prison. At some point, Merve had posted a non-explicit image on her Instagram that she had also posted on her OF account. This was enough for her haters to report her to the authorities. This happened at the end of 2022, a little over a year after she got prosecuted with a 5-year probationary period. She had tweeted out, I have a court date on January 12th. A court decision was made under the name of obscenity crime because of the normal photos I used OnlyFans and shared on my Instagram account. Congratulations to those who reacted. You have achieved your goal. She then replied to that post showing everyone the text she had received, summoning her to court, and specified in the tweet under it that yes, she's under probationary period. If she's prosecuted, then both sentences will be combined together for a prison term. So that's 5 months from the sex museum fiasco, and God knows how many more months this trial was going to give her. She was potentially about to be in a lot of trouble. Again, this made international news, and again, this was going to set a pretty big precedent. Merve argued that if she were to lose this, then the majority of Turkish people can say goodbye to their freedoms. Now, I don't need to tell you that this was very controversial. It was a very two-sided incident, with one side being fully with her and another side wanting to see her in prison for the rest of her life, alright? There was no in between. But if you haven't figured it out already, for an OF girl, there is no such thing as bad publicity in anything that happens. Even if they were to crash their car, anything is a marketing opportunity, and that's exactly how Merve treated this. When she showed up to court on January 12, 2023, she showed up with a skimpy-ass outfit. Bear in mind, she was being tried for obscenity, and she showed up with something like this to court just to get more people to talk about her. It worked, of course, but people were concerned that she was taunting the judges with an outfit like this. It simply wasn't looking good for her at all. In the end, though, the court couldn't really reach a decision. They delayed the hearing by 2 weeks because they needed more time to look at evidence. To Merve, this was a victory. She had gotten so much publicity, so much marketing, all eyes were on her, and she was still a free woman. But still, people kept a very close eye. She only had 2 weeks of reprieve before the next court date. And of course, on January 26, she took the opportunity to wear an even more revealing outfit. Yeah, very interesting choice, right? Many people thought she was playing with fire, almost like she wanted to be prosecuted, but somehow, I don't know how, she managed to get acquitted. Not only were the new charges completely thrown out the window, but the old charges concerning her whole stunt at the sex museum in Amsterdam were also thrown out. She was essentially a free woman. no more prison time to worry about, no more probation. She had a clean record now. And she had set a pretty damn strong precedent to anyone doing OF content in Turkey. I'm pretty sure no one was expecting this, even herself, but she kind of became the face of OF girls in Turkey because of this. But even so, she didn't waste a single second celebrating. Shortly after, she took a plane to Bali and just started living there. Here's a tweet referencing that. I moved out of my country because I could not stand the court cases I've experienced in Turkey and the pressure Turkey has put on me that I'm an obscene person. You lost a star you did not know. I would like to thank everyone who has always supported me during this process once again. This was her stating to the whole world she was finally free from the clutches of her evil country, and would reference the court case again as well, saying, last year around this time I went to court for obscenity and was acquitted. You know, my friends, in fact, my court result sets a precedent because it was the first time such a court case was held in Turkey. In other words, I did not escape from Turkey. I can come for a holiday if I want, and here's a warning to you. Soon, you will not be able to wear shorts, skirts, or even low-cut clothes. You paved the way for this, now watch and see. You are turning your own life into a prison, you don't know it. So yes, what she was saying was true. She had set an important precedent, but at the same time, it sounded like she was divorcing herself from her country. It seemed like she had finally escaped the system that she hated so much, like she was finally free. This is why no one could have ever predicted that shortly after tweeting this out, she would find herself in the biggest trouble she could have ever imagined with the Turkish authorities. So as she had said in this tweet, she could come to Turkey for a holiday whenever she wanted, and she did exactly that. She was there during the month of February 2025, so very recently. And as she would often show off to people, she would stay in a very high-end hotel. This is when she would decide to tweet this out on February 12th, 2025. I can be a girlfriend for dinner for those who are single on February 14th. Fee, 400,000 Turkish liras, which equates to 11,000 USD. My features, 1. I am talkative, we can chat a lot. 2. My beauty, you can create a good image with me outside. 3. I am known in Turkey, you can satisfy your ego within yourself. 4. I'm smarter than you expect, you'll be surprised. Bonus, I have great manipulation skills, be careful not to fall in love. Bonus 2, if you need motivation on anything, I'm pretty good at that too. Bonus 3, I am humble. Now look, you've watched this video this far, right? You know this is rage bait. I mean, of course it is. $11,000 to her is probably what she earns daily. And these points, especially bonus 3, is made to just piss you off. And you know what? It worked. 1.7 million views. 800 very angry replies. It's no different than what we talked about in the beginning of this video. But she had rage baited a little too hard because it ended up reaching the Turkish authorities. You see, at this point, Mervi had gotten quite a few eyes on her throughout the years because of the controversy she was in. This meant that she had a big group of people literally wanting nothing more than seeing her suffer. So when they saw this tweet, they reported her to the Turkish authorities. She caught wind of this, and on Valentine's Day, she had tweeted out, "Are you complaining about me to the authorities? I don't think eating is a crime. If they wish, we can eat together too." So in her mind, she did nothing wrong, and if the police were to show up to her house, they can eat with her too because it's not a crime. But little did she know, this was actually going to be the biggest crime of her entire life. Shortly after, she was straight up arrested and brought to the Istanbul Central Police Station. The authorities were done playing around. She wasn't going to get a pass like the last 2 times. She had literally rage baited the police. Like that's exactly what happened. She was placed under house arrest because the authorities argued that her post for Valentine's Day was obscene. Again, this goes back to the idea that we have no clue what obscene means. It can be anything in Turkish law. Merve said, "What did I go through? I was taken from my home and brought to the Istanbul Security Directorate in Geretepe, where I gave my statement. The officers were very polite and I thanked them for that," she wrote. "My phone was confiscated. I don't know when I'll get it back. After my statement, I spent a night in a cold, airless, and not so hygienic holding cell. I was freezing. The next day, she was transferred to the courthouse. She said the prosecutor was friendly and warm, but then he caught me off guard and requested my arrest. I wasn't expecting that at all. The judge had officially given her house arrest, and she said, I don't know how long this will last. Can someone please tell me this is a joke and none of it is real?" Her house arrest lasted a total of 19 days. And throughout it all, she was forced to wear an ankle monitor that monitors her location at all times. It was only on March 6th, 2025 that she could finally remove it. She then posted this statement on her Instagram. "My 19-day house arrest has officially ended. Now I have to sign in once a week and I still have a travel ban. My court hearing is scheduled for June 17th, 2025 at 11:30 a.m. I hope for an acquittal. Wish me luck. P.S. I'm a bit disappointed that I won't be able to go on vacation to Ibiza until the hearing. So that means, even though she's not under house arrest anymore, she is under probation. She has to sign in once a week and she cannot, under any circumstances, leave the country. Even though she had been acquitted from the 2 previous charges, it seems that this time she had particularly rage baited someone in the authorities, and they're just not willing to let her go. And around 3 months from now, we'll see just how badly the authorities want to put her in prison and for how long. But if they do, it will yet again set a precedent. For now though, thank you so much for watching the video until the end. Sorry for sounding sick throughout the whole thing, that's because I am, and I'll see you in the next video whenever that is. I love you so much. Mwah.